This has to be one of our coldest winters here in a while, and expected to get colder this weekend, but that's not going to stop me from planting things ready for spring. If you're new here, I'm Nikki, and I'm on a mission to grow as much food as I can on our regular suburban block here in subtropical Queensland. I hate the feast or famine that comes with seasonal planting, and because here in the subtropics in Australia, our weather allows us to plant all year round, I plant a small bed of staples every month. The bed we planted back in April is still producing broccoli, side shoots, and sugar snap peas. I did miss my cauliflower and I am letting the lettuce go to seed. Normally at this point I would look at turning this bed over to replant, but the garlic will be out soon and I'll have a heap of free beds. So I'm going to leave everything here just to go to seed. The beds I planted back in May, I've been harvesting loads of greens, carrots, and kohlrabi. I think the kohlrabi is underrated, but it's a really great one to grow if you've got limited space and time. It's a great alternative to cabbage as it has a very similar flavour, but it's more of a texture of a radish. I'm experimenting with different ways to use it. I roasted some up with some sweet potato to make a salad. I've also sauteed it with some butter and brown sugar, which was really good. I actually don't mind it raw too, so next time I'm going to grate it up to make a bit of a coleslaw. The bed I planted in June, I've been getting regular harvest of mustard greens, kale and rocket, and most of the lettuce have been harvested from here. The carrots are a bit slow as I had to replant those as I let the seeds dry out before they germinated, but everything is looking pretty good here. The bed I planted last month, back in July, I've actually been shocked how fast everything has grown here. The tatsoi I could start harvesting from now and some of the lettuce too. I did have a random pak choi self-sow here, so I've just let it grow. I had a few carrots fail to germinate, so I've popped in some radish seeds in those locations. Now let's get started with this month. August is a transition for warm season crops for us. If you don't really care about getting a head start on the warmer crops, you could definitely plant what I did back in March and also what I planted last month. Now, it's normally not this cold this time of year, so I use my compost thermometer to see how the soil temperature is, and it's definitely a little too cold to start anything in the ground. Most of the warm season crops will need that soil temperature of around 21 degrees. I did, however, have some beans that self-sowed recently and some pumpkins, so I'm going to risk it, but with a backup plan. So I'm planting in my veg pod, which I previously had some potatoes. It's been a bit of a problem zone for me as it's right on the fence line, which means it's a prime target for rats and possums, but we're just going to see how it goes. I prepped this bed with a bit of cow manure and some of our own homegrown compost, which I'm so happy to have up and running again. So very simple bed. I'm going to go in with some beans, beetroot and zucchini seeds, and I'm also going to transplant some lettuce. Fair warning, the zucchini is going to take over most of this bed. Beans will be planted on the edge. It's how I always plant my beans, as I allow them to cascade over the edge to make it easy for harvest. These beans are called Strike, which are a standard green round bean, very prolific, very resistant to rust in our climate, which is perfect. Behind the beans, I'll do a row of lettuce. These are Buttercrunch, which is just a minuet style. These will be done by the time the zucchini takes over, which I'll plant in the middle of the bed. This zucchini that I'm planting is just a regular stock standard Black Beauty. I'd love to say that these are prolific, but I have major issue with cucumber fly here, so it's hard for me to get a decent harvest unless I net them and hand pollinate. I'm going with a row of beetroot on my northern edge. I've gone with this cylindrical variety. They grow more like a tapered tuber, which I find does a lot better in our warmer months as the root is digging down deep for moisture. I'll also pop in some coriander seeds. I don't eat coriander. I grow it for the flowers, which are really great for beneficial insects. If you do eat it, I recommend growing it like you would lettuce, plant it often and harvest the entire plant. So with spring coming, of course, it's time to get some flowers in to bring in the beneficial insects. This corner bed previously had a lot of my perennial plants, which I've moved, and now it's going to be an annual flower bed. I've planted in a mix of flower seedlings that I just got from the nursery, but I'm also going to throw in some mixed zinnia seeds in this area. Now let's go to the greenhouse. As I said, it's pretty cool, so I'm going in with my contingency for my zucchini and beans. The beetroots and coriander should be fine with the temperature, so I don't need to do any more of those, but I am going to have backup of the zucchini and beans. I'm also going to plant another lot of lettuce. This time of year is when I switch away from any head-forming lettuces and go to the loose leaf varieties. Minuet varieties are usually okay around about now, but I do avoid any of the full head-forming lettuces like the iceberg or even the standard cos as the weather warms up. I'm also going to plant some basil and a chili, which is an Anaheim plant. I haven't grown it before, so it's a new one that I'm trying this year. For my non-staple beds, I am going to get a head start on some capsicum plants. So these will probably live in my garden for a couple of years. I'm planting 6 of the California Wonder, which is just your standard capsicum. But I am also going to see if my old Corno de Toro capsicums are any good. These are more of a tapered fruit, and I did find them to be really prolific in our climate. I'm also going to add some Black Beauty eggplant, which is standard type. I do love the Ping Tung Long as well, which I might get some of those in as well. Finally, some Roma tomatoes, which I won't be planting out in the garden until October, so just getting a head start on these ones. You might be wondering why I'm not doing more tomatoes. Well, the truth is tomatoes do not do well over summer here. We get far too many issues between the fruit fly and excessive rain. I save most of my tomato growing for autumn. So 1 tomato plant is enough to supply our family for fresh tomatoes, but we will do a cherry tomato a little later in the year. And normally I don't bother starting seeds before the temperature is right, but because it is so cold, I really want to get these growing. I'm going to bring them inside until they germinate and pop them on a heat mat. This was one that I just grabbed online. It was cheap and I really hope it doesn't burn my house down. To avoid them from getting leggy though, as soon as they sprout, they'll be back out to the greenhouse. And I'm hoping by then that the cold snap is over. You could definitely use a seed raising tray that has a clear top on it, or even just a clear plastic tub if you wanted to keep your seedlings warm. My other potatoes have also started to chip, so I will probably plant these out this month, but I will put that in a separate video. So if you can get your hands on seed potato, now is the time to do it for the subtropics. If you wanted to plant along with me, I do have a seasonal seed bundle of all the seeds that I'm sowing in my staple beds for the next 3 months available on my website. It includes about 18 packs of seeds and a sample of seaweed extract. I'll pop a link into the description so you can check that out. Anyway, that's it for our August planting. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.